So you're very welcome. First, I would like to know who of you is a mediator. Can you give me a hand sign? One. And who knows about mediation? Oh, some more, okay. Yeah. What I want to tell is how to solve conflicts. And mediation is one procedure how to do it. And mediation is very special because normally we are used to go to somebody and ask him, please solve my problem. Usually we go to the judge, or maybe before we go to the lawyer. Are there lawyers here?
Yes.
Oh, great. Are there judges here? And what else are you? Psychologists? So, yeah, great. All this you will find in mediation. Mediation is an interdisciplinary process, and mediation is, let's say, stealing every knowledge about how to deal with conflicts. And so everything is coming together in this procedure. And we use it in order to help people to solve their problems themselves. And the most intriguing thing in mediation is the parties solve their problems themselves. So the mediator is just doing nothing. Do you believe that it works? Okay, now 3/4 of an hour is not enough to explain how mediation works, but maybe I can give you an impression. And the title of this lesson means Ways to Cooperation. That means mediation is a conflict resolution procedure which is based on cooperation. And the opposite of that is confrontation. And if you go to court, for example, usually people used to confrontate. That means to fight against each other and to bring the other party to become a loser, because if the other party is a loser, automatically I will be the winner. That's the game we play at court. I would like to introduce a story which really happened, and then maybe you have an example what is the difference between solving conflicts on the basis of law and solving conflicts on the basis of something else. Let's call it communication. You should know, I have been a judge for some years, and I've been a family judge. And I would like to tell a story which really happened. And for that, I invite you to come with me to Altenkirchen. Altenkirchen, who knows it? Oh, you know that? Really? Great. Altenkirchen is a very small town in Germany where I'm living. And I have been a judge there. It's almost 20 years ago. And this story I tell you now really happened. It was a case where a father claimed to see his child. He was divorced from his wife, and the wife refused giving him the child. And he wanted to have contact with the child, and the mother said no. In German law, father can claim contact with his child if he reasons that there will not be a danger for the child. That means the father claimed, I want to see my child, and he reasons there is no danger for this child. And opposite to that, the mother said, oh, he is not allowed to see the child because there is a danger for the child. Even when the child sees his father, then it urinates in bed, on all, you know, these typical stories. And this child is crying, and it is nervous, and it is not normal, and the child has stress, and I have to protect the child that it can be relaxed and free of stress, and that's the reason why I don't want that the father has contact with the child, and the father doesn't have a good behavior, so it's not good for the child. So that is the stuff you have to decide as a judge. Normally, in Germany, I guess it's the same in Estonia, you have this file now with two writings, one which claims contact and the other one which refuses contact. And then you send it to the family office, to the municipality, And there, somebody, a social worker or psychologist, go to the family, checks the situation, makes a recommendation, file comes back to the court, then the judge reads it, the parties are excited because this recommendation means one side will win the case, the other side will lose it, then parties are still quarreling, and the next step is to ask a psychologist, make an expertise, and this takes around 1.5 years. And afterwards, then you have to make a sentence, and you have to decide if the father should see the child or not. And you can imagine, when the mother doesn't want the father to see the child, she will make something that it will not become possible. So even if the father wins this process, maybe afterwards the mother will say the child is sick, or I don't know, you know this. So that's a normal tragedy in divorces. I think that's typical in Germany, and maybe in Estonia you have a similar experience. Now, this story had another outcome, and I want to tell you what happened. At that time, I didn't do anything about mediation. I studied psychology when I was a student, but I didn't finish the studies, so because I became a judge. But I knew something about conflicts and communication and so on, and I really didn't have the idea to use mediation. But I had the idea to help parties to resolve their conflicts in an easier way, because, you know, as a judge, you are always part of this conflict. And I hate conflict. So I tried to get out of this mess and to find ways how to solve these cases very quickly. So I really made experiments. One of those experiments was, I didn't wear this gown the judge normally wears. And you see me, I'm not a typical judge, and I had long hairs all the time, so if you come to me, you don't recognize me as such an important person. I didn't have those hearings in the hearing room. I organized them in my office. So when you came to me, you immediately lost the feeling that you are sitting before a judge. In this situation, the mother knocked at the door, and she opened the door and looked in and said, "Oh, is it right here? I have this case at court and blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Oh yes, that's very right." And because there wasn't a waiting room outside, I asked her, "You can come in and sit down anywhere." There were some chairs in my office. And she settled down. Now she sat opposite to me, and I tried to not to ignore her, because the other party was not here yet, and as a neutral judge I don't have to talk with one side of the parties. But she took the chance, now under 4 eyes with the judge, and she started to talk with me. And then she said, "You cannot imagine how difficult it is for us alone educating mothers." And I thought, "Oh, this bloody stuff again." I didn't say this is what I'm thinking. And so I said, "Oh, is it?" And she said, "Yes, and you can be lucky that I'm here." I said, "You should know, I can ask police and bring her." But I showed myself interested and said, "Oh, is it? What makes it so difficult?" And she said, "It's so difficult to find babysitters." Now imagine, you have this file, the father claims contact with his child, so he wants to have contact with his child, he wants to care about the child, and the mother complains not having a babysitter. So, what do you think is the solution? You know the solution.
For the babysitter.
The father is the babysitter. Okay, now try to convince me. I'm the mother now, and you are the judge. Try to convince me. Who wants? So that's an experiment now. I show you how communication works.
By the way, there is one person who will be available for gigs.
Oh, is it really?
Yes.
Yeah, who can this be?
Sorry?
can it be? I'm the mother. I'm interesting. It's a good idea.
You might know this person actually.
Oh, you think? I cannot imagine.
He's actually coming here in any minute.
Oh, really? No, you don't mean my husband. He is a killer. You don't want me to give him the child. No. Okay, next try.
Well, I guess that's it. Okay, somebody else can continue.
Okay, you will see, it's not possible to convince me. And have you an idea why? Because normally I use this case for trainings. I'm a trainer in mediation, and I use this to explain why it is impossible to convince me in a court situation to this result, the solution. Because if I would agree to your proposal, I would be in contradiction to my writing. Because I said in my writing, the child is in danger when it meets the father, and now when I agree to your solution, so I would say I'm a liar. It cannot be possible. And that would be a fraud, and that would be punished. No, so in this moment where I check what you are saying, I cannot agree. Right? You agree? Okay. So, and in this case, without knowing why, I did something differently. And I asked this lady, oh, I don't understand you. Why don't you abuse her husband for babysitting? And now her reaction, including her gestics, was that I didn't have this idea. That was her reaction. I was astonished. I said, oh no, what is this now? But you know, as a judge, you like to have a settlement at the end, because then you don't need to write the sentence, and you save some time. So now I started to ask her and to discuss with her how she could abuse your husband for babysitting. And we had an idea in this talk. Then it knocked at the door. Father looked in and he said, oh, is it right, this case, blah, blah, blah. I said, yes, it's right. And it's good that you're coming. I just had a nice talk with your wife. And we talked about, what do you think, how often should a man be abused by his wife? And he made a very strong face and he said, I think quite often. And I said, that was the right answer. And then I explained him what we discussed before. And then he started to smile, he understood. So abusing means he can see his child. He settled down and we had the solution in 5 minutes. Because then the parties discussed how he can be abused by her and how she can abuse him. And then they found a settlement, and after some minutes they had a conclusion. So, what happened? What do you think? What is the difference to the ideas to convince the lady before? Have you an idea?
Your proposal didn't change her attitude.
Didn't?
Because she still was angry and kind of abusing is a bad thing to do.
Yeah, so you think her attitude is to do something bad to this man, and abusing means, so good idea.
She got a practical use, but kept the attitude.
Yeah,
kept the face.
Great, yeah. So, but the word abuse is the magic word in this game, and at that moment I was surprised for myself, and I wondered what happened here. So I called my friend, he was a psychologist and a mediator, and I told him the story, and he said it's very easy. What happened? It was reframing. You know reframing? Reframing means giving another perspective on the same facts. So that means you can change the meaning of the facts. And fact is giving child to the father. The meaning is, now I have to obey him, or I don't know what she doesn't like. And now she can give the same fact a meaning what is fitting better to her interests. So you see, this technique you can use outside psychology, and reframing, I think, is one of the most used techniques in communication. We use it all the time, knowing or not. But now I started to learn how to use those techniques permanently. And then I learned sometimes it helps, sometimes not. Because this case, in my trainings I asked, do you think this was a mediation? What do you think? Was it mediation, this babysitter case?
Yes.
You say yes?
Yes.
Why do you think it?
Because you didn't start to, because they hate each other, so you didn't start that they should love each other,
Yeah.
but to do as much as they can to make the situation better.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, oh, your husband is so nice and your wife is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think that about each other
Yeah.
feeling. But
Mhm.
object, cake, child, maybe this is... They forgot that they hate each other. Or
You think that's right? Yes, maybe, yeah.
maybe.
In any case, it was a win-win solution. That means everybody was a winner. The woman had something she wanted to have, and the man had something he wanted to have. So she had the babysitter, and he had the contact to his child. So it's very nice for everybody. But so it is this typical win-win solution we try to achieve in mediation. But I don't think it was mediation. Normally people reason because I'm a judge is a decision maker, and decision makers are not welcome in mediation. I don't know if that's true or not. But what I think is the reason, the interest the woman had to agree was not was not clear. So what can it be when she feels that she needs to abuse her husband? What can be the conflict? Do you have an idea? What could be her conflict? Why does a woman wants to abuse her husband? Women, what do you think? Why do you want to abuse your husband?
Some kind of revenge?
Revenge, yes, maybe that. Maybe something else? Women?
Evil person.
Evil person, yeah. So if you think further on, you will see there are some hypotheses we can have about the conflict which is behind. And we don't know the conflict. And maybe it's just a changing of roles, or maybe she has been abused by her husband before, and you don't know. And in mediation, we would know the conflict which was the base for this war. And this is not clear. So it might happen that the parties, after a while, will have the same conflict in another phase, and they will have another problem. And in mediation, they would know what is the base of conflict, and then probably they will not have this conflict again. So that would be, there's a higher maintenance. Sustainability is better, because people understand their problem, and they learn to deal with it, and they find a solution for themselves. And this was more steered by me. It was a nice result, and I didn't see them anymore in my life, but maybe they changed their living place, and they changed the court, and they said, to this court we will never go again. We don't know. So in mediation, we have to learn that there's a conflict, and we have to learn that the law queries normally don't touch this conflict. So we have something like a meta level over the conflict, and we don't touch the real conflict. And that's the reason why the solutions found by law not always are accepted by the parties. Mostly by one of the parties who is winning, and mostly not by the other party who is losing. And that's the reason why the party who is losing will stay in the conflict, or both parties will stay in the conflict, and conflicts have the ugly thing, they always come up again. So if the conflict is not resolved, it will come up and will come up until it is resolved, and it can take a lifelong. Normally, you know, where you study psychology, divorcing needs a time of 5 years or more until this couple is really independent from each other. And at court, we take maybe half a year to arrange this divorcing process. So you see, it is much quicker than the conflict resolution needs. And in mediation, we can clarify the conflict, we can make it open, and parties learn to deal with it. That's the advantage. Now, from this time on, I decided that I want to have those results more, because it is really saving a lot of work. For a judge, you have to talk a bit more, but you have to write less. So that's an advantage in my understanding. And so I started to learn those techniques. And then I made this experience that those techniques not always are really helpful. So imagine if you have a war, and we are talking nicely in this war, then we still have a war. So we have a nicer war, but it is still a war. So then I learned there must be much more to change people, to take them out of this war game. And this was the moment where I started to learn mediation. And the advantage I had was because I was a judge, I had plenty of cases, and I could make trials and experiments, and I could learn how to use those techniques and this knowledge and competence outside mediation in a court procedure, even where I have been the sitting judge. And what makes mediation so powerful is the thinking behind. So in Germany, I got deeper and deeper in the stuff, and in Germany I became the chairman of an association we founded then, and it is called Integrated Mediation. And our idea and our understanding of mediation is that it is, on the one hand, this legalized procedure we have in law now everywhere in Europe. On the other hand, it's a psychological procedure of cognition. And you need some steps to go through until you are ready for consensus. So the aim of mediation, this win-win result, is nothing else but a consensus. And where you are lawyers, you know, you can settle a case. It's the same it's the same instrument, so it's a contract. In mediation, you finalize mediation by a contract, and you can finalize a court procedure by a decision or a contract between the parties, a settlement. And this settlement mostly just is a compromise. Compromise means everybody is losing a bit, and then we are meeting in the middle of two positions. And in mediation, we don't have this thinking, because there is no middle of positions. In mediation, the idea is everybody gets everything he wants to have, and we believe deeply this is possible. So we can make the cake bigger of solutions. And now I would like to tell you how that works. And maybe then you can use this idea, so the steps of cognition outside mediation as well. So that's what we are doing today. And to do this, you need to understand how mediation works. you will see it is fairly difficult to explain so that people really understand what it is. I can give you a definition, but then you will see it's not clear what mediation really is. The definition of mediation, the legal definition is, mediation is a procedure where a neutral third person helps the parties to find a solution on their own. That would be the definition of mediation. And this can be everything. And it doesn't describe how this act of helping is working and what the mediator is doing. So, and we have a range of possibilities what he can do. It can be more like a conciliation. It can be like a negotiation or something in between. So there are different manners how to deal with that. In mediation there is, as the word is saying, mediation. Mediation is based on something which has to be mediated, and it has to do, there are different ideas where it's coming from. It can be in the middle, but I think mediators don't like this so much, because in the middle means we have a position A and position B, and we are meeting in the middle of those positions. That would not be what we like in mediation. Mediation maybe more means to find a solution where everybody can stand behind, which everybody wants to have. So we have the idea you can have 100% of what you want to have. And maybe this sounds a bit idealistic for you, or fantastic, or I don't know. But it really works. And the results of mediation, the success is really high. So in 80% of the cases, we find a good solution for the parties. They just need to stay the whole mediation until the end, and then it works, mostly. So now I would like to try to explain how mediation works, and you will see it is quite easy, and I will give you an example, and then I hope you understand it very easily, and you can use it from after half an hour as a method. When you are quarreling with other people, then you just have to follow this rule and everything is fine. To explain mediation, we step backwards. That means we start with the end, and it's easier to explain the steps you need to pass through if you see it from behind. So, now the question is aiming to the lawyers among you. What is the result of mediation? What is the outcome? What do you think? No lawyers? No, there are lawyers. Yeah, so what is it? It's an agreement at the end, it's an agreement.
Or disagreement, two options. If it is successful or it's not.
Okay, no, the result is an agreement, and agreement in a juridical term is what?
According to Estonian civil code, it's called compromise. But
Compromise?
But actually it's not compromise. Because it's
No, that's equality. That's equality. I just mean the what is it? The instrument. It's a contract. Okay?
Yes.
Contract. Okay.
Okay.
Good. So I will show you. So that would be the last phase, phase 5, and that would be a contract. And I can use this scene to also explain you the principles of mediation. Now, oh, you are looking nice. What's your name?
Hans.
Hans.
Yes.
Oh, Hans is a German name. And your neighbor? Duli. Okay, Hans, you make a contract with Duli, please. And you give her, let's say, 100 euro. No? We want to see it. So in German law, you need to go to the notary, and you don't need to go to the notary if you give the money directly.
So easy.
No, do you have 100 euro? You have a piece of paper that's not 100 euro.
Yeah. I want 100
You see?
And have 100 euros.
Mm-hmm. You see, he doesn't want to make a contract with her. He doesn't want to give her 100 euros. Yeah? You can ask him later why. Okay?
I know.
But now you learn a contract. You can't force somebody to make a contract if he doesn't want. That means a contract must be voluntarily. Otherwise, you will destroy it afterwards. So maybe if I force you to make a contract, and afterwards you will say, this was not a real contract because I have been forced for it. And you will destroy it again. So this we don't need. That means we need really a voluntary explanation. I want, Julie was the name? Julie, I want to give you 100 euros. Yeah. Do you want to take them? Yeah. And now you must say yes, and then voluntarily. Yeah. And then we have a contract. Okay? So that means you learn we need a principle in mediation, very important, which is called voluntariness. Okay, so we go deeper. Lawyers again, a contract. What are the elements of a contract? Two wills, okay. One is called the offer.
Offer and acceptance.
Offer and acceptance. Exactly. So that means to make a contract, we need to offer something, to make an offer. Julie, I offer 100 euro to give you 100 euro. Okay, that's my offer. And now that's not a contract, that's only one part of the contract. This contract needs the acceptance by the other party. So as soon as you would say, Arthur, oh, I like to take this money from you. Okay, then we have a contract because there was an offer, and the offer is fitting to the acceptance. Okay, so that means we have two parts. That's an offer and acceptance. So now I want to show you how this works in practice. And now we take an example. May I
Yes, sorry.
ask you to make a deal with me?
Depends, yes.
Yeah, okay. So I assume you like cars very much.
I like what?
Cars.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Please like cars.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And especially my car.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So it's a little silver car with 2 seats. Okay? And you love it. You definitely want to have it. Okay?
I do, yeah.
Okay. So you can imagine the situation. Now we make a play. And now make an offer for me.
I offer you to be handed over to me
Okay?
for free. Oh, offer.
Yeah. So I wouldn't take this offer, by the way.
Okay.
Why should I give you my car for free?
Just trying it.
Okay. No, you want to have it. So.
Okay.
Okay. Then if you make me angry, then
Yeah.
you risk
Yeah,
that you
okay.
will not have it. So
I would like to buy your car.
you want to buy my car?
Yes.
Interesting, yes?
And I
Don't forget there are some witnesses, yeah? Okay. You want to buy my car?
Yes.
Okay. Make an offer.
I offer. Do I know how old this car is?
How do I know?
No. Okay.
Do you know?
No.
No. Okay.
Okay, I offer
So what's your problem?
50% of the market value. Average market value.
How can I know what this is? So, what is your problem now?
I don't know.
You have lack of information.
Yes, I do.
Right?
Yes.
So we just learned the second important principle of mediation. So we need information because without information we are not able to make an offer. Okay? So that means we need information. And we need all the information which is necessary to make an offer. Okay? Now I give you this information you need. let's say this car is 20,000 euro of value. And this is, there's an expertise, so please don't doubt, it is 20,000 euro of value. So now make an offer, please.
18,000.
18,000. So why do you think I don't take this offer?
Because it's less than the market.
Okay, you have another chance.
21,000.
21,000. So now it's a bit more. Yeah, no, I don't take it.
I need more information why you don't take it.
Okay, so what do you need to know?
Are you willing to sell at all?
Yes.
Emotionally.
Yes, you need to know my interest. Yeah, and I don't want to sell my car because I love my car myself, you know? So it's difficult. So, but that's very good. So that means in order to make an offer, you need to know my interest. So if I advertise the car for selling, so it's easy because you see I want to sell it, but I didn't tell you that I want to sell it. And now it's very difficult because you don't know, does he want to sell it or not, or maybe not. And no. You need to know my interest. And I can tell you, my interest clearly is I do not want to sell my car. Okay? What are you doing now? Because you really want to have my car.
Well, now I want to know what other options there are.
Okay. So, what could you do?
Either influence you?
You will manipulate me.
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't work.
Yeah, okay. And since it's a car, and so in that sense I would like to know where I can get exactly the same kind of car.
You would buy it somewhere else.
I suppose.
No, that doesn't work because you want to have this car because it's my car. So it's like Lady Gaga drove in it once. So she was my co-driver once, and you know this, and it's.
And then I try to understand: do I want to have it or do I want to use it?
You work on yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, maybe you have another chance. The other chance is you find out maybe there is something which makes your offer so attractive that I can't say no. You know? So, how can you find this out?
I need to know yours.
By the way, this is my wife sitting there. Yeah, she's Monica. Hello, Monica.
I can help you maybe.
So manipulate, still, but that's somehow still manipulation, no?
Yeah, you try to find out what could be
Other interests of yours.
other interests, which maybe are more valid or which are so attractive and which only you can satisfy to me, and then maybe I'm willing to sell you my car. Okay, normally, you see, if you would ask me, what are your interests to sell your car? The answer would be, I don't want to sell it. So it's very quick. So it doesn't work like this. So, and you feel, you cannot ask me for my interests because I wouldn't say them. Okay? Agree? So you have to find other ways. Maybe asking somebody else who knows me quite well, or maybe we meet in a sauna where we are naked, and then you come to me, you say, oh, what's your name?
Daniel.
I'm Daniel. Hi Arthur, I'm Daniel. Nice to meet you in the sauna. Yeah, no. And this is a very confidential situation. And so we can talk about anything because there is no danger, and it's very nice, and now you are a tricky person and you ask me things, and now you find out what is my interest. So that means we need a special situation where we are able to open our mind, and we are able to openly tell to others what we really think and feel. Yeah? So what we need is openness, and confidentiality. Because when I know you will abuse the information I'm giving to you, I will not give it to you. Yeah? So I need to trust you. And in sauna, why should I distrust you? No. So that means we create a situation or a condition where we are able to talk openly about the interest. And that's necessary because, in fact, we don't want to have a contract with each other because we are enemies. We are in a quarreling situation. And I even don't want to negotiate with you anything. So I have to claim something and pay what you have to pay. And there's nothing to discuss about. That's my opinion. So why should I talk with you? And that's the reason, you see, mediation seen from here to there is a quite normal procedure of dealing contracts we do in every day, sometimes. Very normal. If we have an advertisement, we start from here. If we doesn't have an advertisement, we start from here. We need to find out the interest. So, but now we have 2 phases missing. Mediation has 5 phases. And the next phase is we state, for example, we have now, I changed our game a bit, because I hate you. You debt a lot of money to me. Let's say 100,000 euro. Is it okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. And I think I can claim the money. And why should I negotiate with you anything? So you have to give me the money. And that means the willingness to discuss with you. Why should I do that? So that means before I start to discuss with you, you first have to convince me that I will never get this money. Okay? That means when I learn, okay, I cannot claim it, I cannot enforce it, then, okay, then I don't have another choice. Then, my God, then I have to negotiate with you. Okay? But to understand and to learn that there is no other chance, we have to find out the different positions. That means I have to learn you are not ready and willing to pay the money, and I also have to learn it's very difficult to enforce it, yeah, or to claim it. And you have to learn that it's not so easy to not pay it. Yeah? So we both have to learn, oh, maybe our positions are not so easily to be enforced. Okay? So, what we do now is we clear the positions. And we do this in order to convince parties that it's necessary to negotiate about solutions, to find another solution. Yeah? That means we show the contradictionary, and we say this contradictionary is unsolvable. And now the psychologists under you, what is a human being doing with a contradiction which is not solvable? There's a psychological term, what happens? Do you know this?
Ignore.
No, it's cognitive dissonance. You know, is it right? Cognitive dissonance? Yeah? So people, if there's a contradiction in your brain, people have a very strange manner to deal with it. So from a logical point of view, you have 2 options. One is to live with this contradiction. But you will see, you can test yourself. People have problems to accept contradiction. So we don't like this. It isn't a good feeling if there's a contradiction. And most of people, or in most situations, we just think the contradiction clear. So, very easy. You are a liar. It's not true what you are saying. So, and there is no contradiction because you are wrong, I'm right. So it's clear. Yeah, okay. So, this is the normal way to deal with it. And in order to deal with you, to make a negotiation with you, I have to understand that maybe you are right as well. So I have to overcome this cognitive dissonance somehow. And the best way to do this is to show there is no solution possible. So this contradiction is unsolvable. In this moment I start, oh God, yes, so I have to find something else. And now I start to think, maybe there are other solutions. Yeah? So, that means that is the phase 2. What we are doing here is, it's not really a principle, but a nice idea, to accept contradiction. There's still one phase missing. And this phase is the first step we do in mediation. Now, it is not really a part of the procedure, and on the other hand, it is a part of the procedure. I will explain by an example. Maybe Julie was your name, right? So I like to make this example with women. So imagine we would have a discussion, arguing. Okay, so we are, let's say we are acquaintances, and so we are not really good friends, but we are not enemies, so we are quite in a normal relationship. Colleagues, okay? So now you must know I'm a smoker, and you are no smoker. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And we start to discuss about smoking. And then you feel that your emotions are coming up. And mine, of course, too. Somehow this discussion becomes an argument. Okay? That when you feel this, what would be your reaction? What would you do?
No, right now maybe I'm just saying that I hate persons who are smoking or
Oh, you want to hate me?
no.
Okay, so I give you a trick.
Okay.
A normal reaction. So if you feel there's emotion coming up and there's a quarrel starting and rowing and I don't know what, a normal reaction could be to just talk about it. So maybe I'm the one who recognizes that we are getting emotionally, and now I say, oh, Julie, like truth.
Yeah.
Great. Julie, do you see that we are shouting at each other?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it what we want to have? Please say no.
Yeah.
Okay, so fine. And now you see, we stop it and we talk normally. We continue talking normally. Okay? So what I did now in technique, in communication technique, was we jumped to the meta level. So we started to talk about the way how we are talking. Yeah? And mostly, if there's not a conflict, a big conflict between us, it works. Mostly it works, and then we say, okay, that was not what we want to achieve. Yeah? And we can continue our talk normally. Okay? Now, but imagine now, you're very angry and you hate me. What could be your reaction now when I say, don't you feel that we are shouting at each other?
No, I am not shouting.
You are shouting, exactly. Now, what you are doing now, yeah, and you fight against me. You continue fighting. You say, it's your guiltiness, and you started with this, something like this. Okay? That means what happens now is you take the conflict and put it on the meta level. And that's a bad game, because now we can't get out of it. Because the conflict is everywhere, on each level. Yeah? So what we learn is, if we have a situation which might be critical in some way, and we have a clean meta level, where we can talk about how we are talking, everything is fine and we can heal it. If the conflict is on the meter level as well, nothing works anymore. Okay? Then you need really, psychologists say you need a paradox intervention, or really a strong intervention to get out of this game. Yeah? So, this kind of meter level, which is really free of conflict, we build up in phase 1 of the mediation. That means before we start the procedure, or at the starting point, we talk with the parties and we talk about how we want to talk. So we are on a meter level and we adjust the frame, we build up a frame in which the conflict talk will be later. That means in this phase we don't talk about the conflict. Only what is really necessary. Normally we don't touch the conflict because we want to have this level clean of conflict. So of course we have to ask the party what is your problem. But they have in phase 2 enough opportunities to live their conflict and to say what they think about the other party. Yeah? So what we are doing here is we are establishing in phase 1 a frame which is nothing else but a meter level. And this should be clean of conflict. So what we learn now is we have 5 crucial steps of cognition, or let's say 4, it depends on how you count them. The first step is to build up a meter level on which you always can talk about the way how you are proceeding. And this level must be clear of any conflict. So if you have conflict on meter level, game is over. Yeah? So the first step that we are doing is we build up a meter level and we take care that the conflict is not climbing this level. Next step what we are doing is parties must understand that it's not possible, or at least difficult for them, to enforce their position, what they want to have, what they're claiming. They need to know, I have problems, there is a disadvantage if I do it. For example, if you have family conflicts very easily, if I claim contact with a child and the mother doesn't want, I will never have the child. Doesn't matter what the judges say. Okay? Or if you debt money, 100,000 euro, I haven't forgotten it, you see. And you don't want to pay it, and it is not quite sure, and we need to have a long phase of court proceedings and spend a lot of money, and the outcome is not clear, then I'm not so keen to have these struggles with you. But then I'm ready to find another way. That means in phase 2, we learn, we try to make the parties learn that the position is not easily to be enforced. Yeah? That there is some kind of a disadvantage. Mostly the disadvantage is a less of maintenance, of sustainability. Yeah? So I have this sentence, you have to pay, but I will never see the money, because before you pay, you kill somebody else. I don't know. Now, the next step of cognition is we need to know the interests. And if you see now the world, how people are negotiating, they always jump over this phase. They leave it out. And they start to discuss the solutions, the options. But they don't know what they are discussing because they don't know the interest. They can't make offers. So that doesn't work. And now you have to think, what are the interests? And you will see in discussions, in mediation as well, when people too early start to make proposals for solutions, you can see that conflict will escalate. And what we are doing in mediation is, we would say, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe you keep it a bit in your mind. We will come back to it. First, I want to know your interest. And then we don't want to think of solutions in this phase. Only after we have clarified the interest, then we can think about solutions. So that means next step is to learn the interests of each party. And after we got known the interests, it is important that both parties understand the interest, because you, you want to make an offer. And to make an offer, you need to know my interest. So you have to understand my interest, and I have to understand your interest, because I have to make an offer to you as well. So that means after interests are understood, then we can make an offer. And now this offer can be accepted when we learn what are the interests of the other side. So now you see, this is the basic structure of mediation. We need techniques, as I explained in the example at first, in the babysitter case, like reframing and things like this. We do this to learn about the interests, and we have this structure in which the negotiation is running. And now if you see this structure, you can find it in any other procedure as well. So I can tell you the court procedure has the same elements, but not all of them. The court procedure, for example, if we say that would be court procedure, so we have, and if the court is ending with a settlement, we would have a contract for sure, we would have some offers to be discussed, some solutions, and we would know the positions. That means if we have it like this, so we have, let's say, 2/3 of phase 2, let's say we have a bit of phase 4, and we have a phase 5. So if we have a moderation, so in moderation, maybe we have a phase 1, we have a phase 2, we have a phase 4, and we have a phase 5. We don't have a phase 3. So the phase 3 is typical for mediation. And we take a lot of effort to find out what are the interests of the parties. And it is not always easy to do that. So now we learn this structure we can use everywhere in any procedure. In negotiation, in moderation, in court procedure. And now we see which parts are missing. And we can think how to use those parts in other procedures as well. So that's the simple secret. Do you understand how to deal with problems now?